So it's almost the end of 2024, and what I'm really thinking about is, where has the innovation in music really gone? Okay, this video will likely be the most important video that I've ever done, so please watch it in its entirety, and hopefully I can spark some inspiration and create new innovation. So I was born in the late 80s, which means that I was a kid throughout the 90s, and let's face it, the 90s were the golden era of all music. Let's start with just the rock music from 91 to around 96. So let's think about this 5-year time span. We had the grunge movement, we had Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine, Guns N' Roses, Radiohead, Red Hot Chili Peppers, peak Metallica. Even Michael Jackson released some of his best songs during that time period. But if we're strictly talking about even hip-hop and rap, that same time period is the golden era of rap and hip-hop music. Dr. Dre released The Chronic, Snoop Dogg released Doggy Style, then we had Tupac, all of his music, Notorious B.I.G. I mean, that is the golden era of rap and hip-hop music as well. Now, something very important to understand is that these artists that I just mentioned were the peak, best-selling, biggest cultural influential people in the music industry in the 90s, and they were all innovators. They all came up with a sound that didn't exist before them. Now, think about the past 5 years and the biggest artists from the past 5 years. We have, in the hip-hop world, we have someone like Drake. We have the Taylor Swifts, the Justin Biebers and Billie Eilishes. I would say that their sound, while they are amazing artists, I'm not taking anything away from that, but they are just as innovative as Backstreet Boys or Spice Girls or Britney Spears and something like that from the 90s. They are not innovators. If we compare the music industry to something like the movie industry, they also have a similar problem. Just think about, for example, all the superhero movies out there. Like, how many times are they gonna make the same movie over and over again? It's getting boring. I mean, there's this good guy that is a superhero, and then there's this bad guy who also has superpowers for some reason, and then there's this love interest, and the bad guy does something to that love interest, and if they are super experimental, the superhero dies in the end of the movie. And that is the biggest plot twist you can expect in these movies. However, the movie industry actually has exceptions. So we have people like Quentin Tarantino, who makes amazing artistic, innovative movies. We have Christopher Nolan, who does things like Tenet, which is like a masterpiece, or Interstellar. That kind of a movie, even though space exploration movies have been done a million times, it's a very different kind of time travel, different dimensions, kinds of, very experimental movie. By the way, he also did Inception, which is once again that kind of a movie that never existed before. You've never seen anything like that. That is true innovation, to do something like that and do it at such a big level. Jordan Peele's Get Out. Once again, one of those movies that you don't really know what genre it is once you watch it all the way through. Same goes for M. Night Shyamalan movies, like The Visit is probably one of my favorite movies, where it seems like a comedy, but really it's horror. Okay, new clothes, shooting the end of this video the next day. So, the music industry has always had a money problem, and this very much predates even the Spotify era. I actually made my master's thesis on this topic around 10 years ago, and the problem is that the business side of the music is in publishing music. The artists rarely get money compensation for their innovation. So there's a big disconnect between the art and the money, and this has always been the case, even if you think about the biggest pop star icon in the world. So think about the music innovation of Michael Jackson, of making those music videos for Thriller, Beat It, and Billie Jean. He didn't make his money from that art. It's been estimated that around 30% of Michael Jackson's actual income came from his own music, and he got into music publishing and notoriously bought the music publishing rights to the Beatles. So it's around 70% of all his money actually came from other people's music and not his own. He was a smart businessman. So that shows us the problem. Many times new innovative experimental artists have to sign a music deal with a label that is not very good, because otherwise their music doesn't get published. So what ends up happening is there's a big disconnect between the art and the money. Now let's use Nirvana as the case example here. Probably the biggest, most influential grunge band of the 90s and created the wave of grunge taking over. What happened after Nirvana? Post-grunge. So record labels wanted to start making money with bands like Nirvana. Those same record labels would not take a chance with a band like Nirvana before that, but since Nirvana made it cool, showed them that people want to hear this, we get post-grunge, we get Puddle of Mud, we get Nickelback. Now I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Puddle of Mud or Nickelback. I actually listened to some of their songs even today. They have made some amazing songs. Strictly talking about the innovation side here, they are not the most original band to come out around the year 2000 when in 91 grunge happened, and it's already the innovated genre that is now accepted everywhere. Also, something very important to acknowledge is that the world is very different now than it was in the 90s. In the 90s, we didn't really have many forms of entertainment. I mean, we did have movies and videotapes at home, but mostly our video games were really bad, and we didn't really have unlimited access to movies. Like these days, I can just pick up Netflix for super cheap and watch all the movies I want. I can get like a Game Pass for Xbox and play all the video games in the world. And this is all competing for the same space as Spotify. It costs the same amount of money. So think about all the music that's being released these days. Is it as entertaining as all the Netflix and all the video games that people can choose from with their free time and what they want to do? I'm not sure it is, but something that comes to my mind is Childish Gambino and the song This Is America. To me, that is more entertaining than most Netflix shows. It's a perfect showcasing of what music and art can be in 2024 and forward. Now let's take all this information and apply it to guitar music, because I don't think guitar music is very entertaining these days. Right now the fashion is very much gent oriented, and let's be honest, Periphery 1 that came out in 2010 was way ahead of its time, and that was true innovation. And pretty much most of these bands, gent bands that are out nowadays that I love listening to, are very much directly derived from that style of music where you have polyrhythm riffs, you have clean and heavy singing, and you have clean and heavy guitars and very aggressive drums. Now I think it's very safe to say that innovation in gent music is stuck. Has it really gone anywhere ever since 2010 and Periphery 1? The only evolution that I see is different vocalists or trying to make gent heavier and heavier and even heavier, in a similar way as if you were already making horror films and you're trying to make another horror film that is even scarier than the previous one, and then make another horror movie that is even scarier as the previous one, and so on. This is the same thing as the Saw movies, essentially. And now we have Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have actually 10 or 11 Saw movies. Now, I saw the first 2 Saw movies, but I mean, they've made 11 of these now. I'm not gonna watch any of the other ones. There's nothing new to be seen in those movies unless you just want more of the same. Now, obviously, there are exceptions, and one exception would be Falling in Reverse. Now, say what you say about Ronnie Radke, he's a figure definitely in the industry, but he gets it. He is making entertainment. Every release that he makes is almost like a movie music video combination, and he is definitely understanding that music needs to be just as entertaining as a Netflix series or video games, because that is what he is competing with. Now, another good example that comes to mind is Polyphia. And even though it is instrumental, shreddy music, they are combining genres from hip-hop And for that reason, that music genre is much more acceptable and accessible for your average listener, and their music videos are sick as well. So that's two examples of people that actually get it. That is understanding where the innovation needs to go and what you have to do. You have to do something that isn't out there yet, and you have to do it in a way that is entertaining. How is it that we have a genre of music called progressive, and we have hip-hop artists like Kendrick Lamar, Childish Gambino, Kanye West doing things that are much more experimental and progressive than the entire genre of progressive music? Just think about it. So I'm not here to bash. That is not my purpose, and that would lead to nothing. I'm just here to say that you are an artist. You have amazing skills and innovation. You are the Quentin Tarantino. You are the Christopher Nolan. You are the M. Night Shyamalan. So think outside the box, create something new, and make it an experience for the people, and understand that you need to be just as good or better than Netflix or video games, because that is what you are competing against. Thank you so much for watching this video, and like I said, I hope this innovates you to think outside the box and create something new, the new wave of art, of music, of culture, and that is what it's all about, really. Thank you, see you on the next one. I've been Mikko from ML Sound Lab. See you later, bye.